All right, hello people. How are you doing? This is Bintel Powell again with another one of my episodes. Please like and subscribe, all you parents out there, all you teachers out there. I'm going to make a pretty outlandish statement. I believe that with this program instituted properly in the black community, and I believe that we could end gang violence, and any fighting and altercations in schools. I think if we do this over the course of 3 or 4 years, I think we can decrease gang involvement, gang violence by 80%. And that's a pretty outlandish thing to say. So I'm going to try to prove it to you. And I also heard somebody say that the best way to demonstrate intelligence, which I'm trying to pass myself off as intelligent to you folks out here, is to tell a joke or by humor. So I'm going to tell a little story, try to get through this quickly. Hopefully you think it's funny. This is a true story. All right. So my first job, Canon USA, this guy Rich Tereskin hires me. I said something to him in the interview about me playing baseball as a kid and how my mother, even though I sucked, she kept me in for years until I hit the ball, and then all of a sudden I was pitcher and taking my team to the World Series. And I told him this story, and he sat there saying, and I was lecturing him about his kids, and he was like, "Really, Bintel?" He was so good. He was like a psychologist. He said, "Really, Bintel, so what you're telling me is that even though my kids aren't doing good in baseball right now, that I should keep them on the team." And I was like, "Yes." I started lecturing him. I write about this in the book, and I forgot that I was in an interview. Meanwhile, he was just working his mental magic on me. His name was Rich Tereskin, the most charismatic manager I ever had, and I obviously I miss him greatly. He's no longer with us, but this was our interview, right? So he gives me the job, and it's 3 other engineers, and we're supposed to charm the other salespeople, and they were going to introduce us to our customers, as I write about in the book, right? And I was called a sales engineer and overlay rep, and everybody else, there were 2 President's Club level trips, one to Puerto Rico, free trips if you made or you're quoted to a certain amount. I was like, I want to get that trip. One to Puerto Rico, and the second was to Monte Carlo, Monte Carlo, right? So I'm like, oh God, I would. And this Asian kid named Robert Hafner, he was lecturing me. You're gonna make $150,000. I'm like, I'm gonna make $150,000. I never made $100, So I'm so excited, but I'm trying to hold it all in, right? So Rich gives me 2 territories, Midtown West. Everything Midtown on the west side was mine. He was basically throwing money in my lap, right? But I was such an idiot. I don't know if it was racism. I can make a whole lot of speculations, but everybody else, the salespeople were taking them out to introduce them to their customers. Nobody wanted to take me out. Right, I would come into the office, hey, take me out and meet some of your customers. They would just be like, oh, no, I don't want to talk to you. Even the black sales rep was ignoring me. It was like, it was, and it went on for months. Everybody else is 100% a quota. They're getting their quarterly bonuses, yearly bonuses. Everybody else is making tons of money, BMW, and I am literally 3% of quota. Everybody's saying, Rich, you got to fire Bintel. He sucks, right? But Rich, going back to our interview, wouldn't let anybody fire me. Wouldn't let people fire me. Even though I was sucked, I missed the first President's Club level trip to Puerto Rico. I had to sit in the office for a whole week by myself. It was devastating. Oh my God. I swore to the heavens above that I was not going to miss the second one to Monte Carlo. No way in hell I was going to miss that trip. So I'm sucking, and nobody wants to take me out. They're just avoiding me. When I come into the office, they're like, and I'm like trying to get them to take me out, and it's not working. For 6 months, it's just not working. I'm not making any money. I'm embarrassed, right? And then one day it just dawned on me. I said, hey, why don't I just be their friend? And I walked into the office, and I was like, I said, hey, nice shoes, man. And I didn't say anything about business, and they were like, what's wrong with Bintel? Why is he behaving that way? Right? Why is he's acting different? And they looked at, even the black guy was like, what's wrong with you, right? And then I sat, and I noticed that they were aware of my change in behavior. So I was like, oh wow, they noticed this. I was playing it off, but I was sitting at my cubicle, but I noticed that they noticed. And then I got the idea to say, hey, you guys want to go to lunch? I just said it out loud, right? The whole branch was like, yeah! So I took them all downstairs with this little salary I had to this breakfast place, very inexpensive, and there were the color guys in the other room that were making the big bucks, and they came too. The whole branch came, right? And these guys, two guys, Doug and Victor Cassetta, they were superstars. I write about them in the book. They came and they were so happy. They were just so happy. And I remember when we left that lunch to go back upstairs, this one white girl, she said, well, they love you now, so you're like the Teflon Don. I can't remember when she said that. And when she said that to me, I did backflips inside. I didn't say anything, but inside I was twirling. I was literally doing somersaults inside. I was so happy, right? And she was right. Because the next day, it was an avalanche of business. Binto, come here, take you here. Binto, get me a price for a printer. Put $30,000 on top of it and mark it up, da da da. I was like, Victor, how much should I take? Binto, shut up. Put 30% gross profit margin on top of it. Give it to me and I'll sell it. Literally, I went from 3% a quota to 150% a quota in like 3 months. It was like giant steps. I was hitting ding, 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 ding. It was like playing pinball. Ding, I was hitting all my bonuses. I wasn't doing any work. All of a sudden, I just had more. I used to go downstairs and cash my check at the Chase Bank, and they would be like, did you get your bonus? It was just out of nowhere, right? And there was this one guy on the team who was, he used to literally wear, he looked like, he was like a short Donald Trump. He wore a black suit, white shirt, red tie every day. And he wore glasses and he talked like this. Hey, Bintel, do you want to come in? He was like the nerd, you know, black people. We make fun of white people and say that they talk like that. Hey, how are you, Bob? Right? He had that voice. It was like a little squeaky, whiny voice. And I was just an insane person. I was going to parties at night. And so I was still in my hip hop, bebop, 90s era of hip hop, don't stop type of a mentality. And I would meet him on Madison Avenue, wherever our meetings were. And I'd be telling him about some girl I was trying to date and buying bottles or whatever money I was making, I was spending it acting like a fool. And he would just, okay, let's go to the meeting, right? He was so straight-laced, right? And piggybacking up on top of him, because he was so straight-laced, the customers just trusted him. So when I came walking in with him, because I was with him, they trusted me too, right? Straight-laced, just presidential behavior, right? I win the president, 12 o'clock, 1999 at 11:59, I signed the last $100,000 sale to make the President's Club level trip to Monte Carlo and get the trip. I got it. I win. When they did the announcement, my name was the last one. I was like, whoo, right? Because I don't think I could have taken sitting in the office. I probably would commit suicide. I would have been so just. I didn't talk to my girlfriend for like 2 months. I was like, I have to make this trip, right? So as we're at the airport going to Monte Carlo, Monaco, right, the richest place in the world. We're staying at the Monte Carlo Grand, and we're in the airport. We're first class champagne. They take us to the windows of the world. They give me this plaque. This big Italian dude shakes my hand. His hand is all the way up my wrist, and he's like, "You found a way to win." That's what he tells me. He says that to me. He said, "You found a way to win." Right? Changed my life forever. We're in the airport, and I'm sitting there with my girlfriend, and where everybody's excited. We're going to Monaco. We got all our best clothes on. I heard this little squeaky voice, and I'm going to say a bad word now, but this is true. He said, I hear this little squeaky voice say, "I'm going to fuck your shit up." I'm like, I think it's like a gnat buzzing in my ear. I don't know. And I hear it again. "I'm going to fuck your shit up." Right? I hear the same little squeaky voice, right? I turn around, and it's him. It's the guy who was wearing the suits every day, but he's drinking like some sort of a drink, and he's drunk off of his ass, and he's not wearing a suit. He looks like a little white Mike Tyson. And he's looking at me like he wants to beat the shit, because I was like, you know, I used to pass myself as like a tough guy. I was down to fight, right? This guy, come to find out, was an Olympic wrestler in college. Scholarship college, was an Olympic wrestler. And there are times when you look at somebody and you can tell, yeah, this guy can fuck my shit up, right? Excuse my language. This guy can fight. I instantly knew he could fight, but he never, ever, ever, never let me see that side of him until he was absolutely sure that he had success in the bag. But to everybody else, they thought he was some sort of a Leave It to Beaver character. And he didn't, he spared me. I was like, please no, right? He looked like he was going to kill me, right? I said, please no, and we laughed about it, and we got on the plane, we had a good time. But I realized that was a life-changing experience for me. To see him like that, after he never said so much as 2 words other than, let's go to the meeting and get the paperwork in, right? No, he didn't even talk. Right? He was always on time. This guy was like a military taekwondo monster in a suit with a little squeaky voice, like a mouse, right? So the reason I'm telling, and this is a true story, if he sees this video, he's gonna laugh because this is absolutely true, right? So that brings me to what I'm trying to get across here. The black community, right, myself included, we do not understand the difference between at-risk behavior and model behavior. We don't even know that model behavior is a thing. We have no understanding of these 2 terms. We think, because of rap music and social media, that at-risk behavior is actually model behavior. We've swapped them out, right? And it's a very cruel trick that society and the media and marketing people have played on us to keep us in this at-risk behavior mode so that we can never come out of it, because when you come out of it, people will say, oh, you're not keeping it real. And the rappers and athletes, they know this, right? And they manipulate this to keep people thinking that they're relatable, right? So I'd like to just discuss this as far as a case study is concerned, right? Because psychologists tell you, any psychologist will tell you, the best way to cure, people perform best in life when they have models of behavior to imitate in their own lives that work. The models of behavior that black people are imitating in their day-to-day, rappers, athletes, drug dealers, all right, gangsters, we worship these characters, are at-risk models, and they produce failure. And then when they produce failure and our kids end up in jail, we say, oh, I'm keeping it real, right? Because nobody's ever told them that there's a difference, and at-risk behavior and model behavior, if not applied properly, will screw up your money supply. It's like a car engine, it'll seize your money machine, all right? So we can just take these case studies as an example. I wrote a few down. I don't know if you can see this. Bill Cosby, Diddy, Elon Musk, 50 Cent, Snoop, Shaq, and my favorite movie, Trading Places. Right? Trading Places is actually a case study on how you can use behavior to destroy somebody's money machine. All right? So basically, and the reason why, and let me tell you, you're, as a teacher, if you try to explain this to your kids, just imitate this lesson here, it's not going to work, because they're not going to think that you know how to make a money machine. Right? So when I come into the school and I tell them a shorter version of that Monte Carlo story, they're like, this guy went to Monte Carlo, and they look up what Monte Carlo is, they'll listen to this from me. The likelihood that they're going to listen to this from you is slim to none, because if you can't bring up a story that's as fantastical as this, they're not going to believe that this model works. They're just not going to believe. And that's the value that somebody like myself will bring to your school. So basically, the behavior is your information, right? You take the Bill Cosby show. Bill Cosby model behavior was so amazing that in the 80s, white people wanted him to be their father. White boys wanted Bill Cosby to be their dad. He was America's father, right? So that behavior, that model behavior of Bill Cosby being a doctor, his wife being a lawyer, the kids living in Brooklyn Heights, and the discussions, the way they handled things, right? The way he would talk through things like he was a psychologist himself. That was the information in his money machine called the Cosby Show. The commodity was him. To be honest, the commodity was him. It was Theo. It was Claire Huxtable. It was all the people in the cast that made up the show, plus Bill Cosby. All right, and the relationships was America, and it obviously produced so much money. I think Bill Cosby is the first person that I ever heard donated $250 million to anything black. Before Bill Cosby did that, I don't think black people could count that high. All right, so that's how well his model behavior installed in his machine was producing money. Right? Diddy didn't use model behavior in his machines. Diddy actually used at-risk behavior in his machines. His commodity was music, and the relationships were the same people who loved the Bill Cosby Show. The difference is, at-risk behavior can sell certain commodities like sneakers, CDs, guns. I hate to say guns. I hate to even say that, but violence, right? Music. What else can he endorse? Liquor. All right? He was going to be a billionaire just selling liquor, Cristal, right? Fur coats, right? He had a clothing line, Sean John, clothing. At-risk behavior can sell those kinds of commodities, right? But if Diddy hypothetically came in rapping one day in the Bill Cosby Show, people probably wouldn't want to watch the Bill Cosby Show anymore. All right? So the point is, the kids need to know that at-risk behavior can only sell you certain type of products. But model behavior can sell you more products on a much wider, grander scale. Right? Right now, our kids think that at-risk behavior sells anything. And when it doesn't, they don't understand. You can't explain this to them. Right? And you can use Elon Musk, right? Just to show you that this is not Elon Musk's money machine was going well with his he's an engineer and he's part of the PayPal mafia, right? His commodity is the Tesla and whatever else, PayPal and Tesla, right? And he has relationships with all the techies, right? But what happened when Elon Musk was seen smoking marijuana on the Joe Rogan show? What happened? His stock plummeted. Stock tanked immediately, lost, I think 30% of his stock price went down overnight. So behavior affected his money machine. Let's look at 50 Cent. 50 Cent's at-risk behavior sold him the same commodities that Diddy's did. Clothing, Gucci sneakers, CDs, right? I think 50 Cent probably imitated Puffy's behavior with at-risk products and at-risk behavior to the letter. But what I want you to understand is that, look at 50 Cent now. 50 Cent walks around wearing suits and talks to people like he's Confucius. Right? He's completely reinvented himself. He's actually, it seems like he's trying to be Bill Cosby, almost. Kind of. Moving in that direction. All right? So Snoop Dogg and Shaq, they're two birds of a feather. The two of them flock together. They use at-risk behavior to endorse all sorts of products. Shaq not so much as Snoop, but they're both endorsement kings. All right? I heard Shaq owns the Beatles and he owns Marilyn Monroe. I heard he owns I think he owned Elvis or something crazy, right? He's an endorsement machine. What he uses model behavior because he was a champion with Kobe Bryant, and his behavior is an athletic model of success. All right. Trading places when the two rich uncles wanted to smear. I think his name is Dan Aykroyd. He was the actor alongside Eddie Murphy. What did they do? They made him out. They put information out that he was a PCP dealer, right? And he was crack cocaine. Destroyed him instantly. All right. So I'm sure you folks get the point, right? You can use behavior as a mechanism in your machine. In fact, it is probably the most important part of your money machine, your behavior. And that is what the black community does not understand. Right? If you look at how many movies are we going to see